So are you interested in like natural construction, tiny homes, all the really amazing stuff that permaculture brings to the table? I mean, I was. To be honest with you, my story is, well, just part of the story is, I love the idea of permaculture, but it wasn't until I started studying the housing and looking at what Michael Reynolds was doing with earthships in Taos, New Mexico, that I said, in my hot area, this is actually going to work. And so that really started me on the journey of my own journey of permaculture. So, uh, you know, one day I'll get good at it. One day I'll get good at it. I've done a lot of learning and I've done a lot of teaching in the architecture and natural building. About to build another natural construction right outside this window right here, coming up pretty soon. But when I was starting, I wish there was a lot of stuff on the internet. And now there's tons of stuff on social media and video websites and whatnot that show you cost breakdowns and their journey through the construction. And that's what I'm going to do right here. So I built a shed to home with a small group of people. Praise the Lord for them. God showed up with some real big miracles there, especially on the heels of ashes. So he will turn beauty from ashes. That's for sure. Beauty from ashes. So, hey, let's check it out. I'm gonna show you like from start to finish this construction project on 640 square foot shed to home. It's not a tiny home. It's like a small home. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, and kind of walk you through what was going on, what was my mindset at the time, and just the miraculous event that happened in this extremely short amount of time. So let's check this out. Okay, so this is 2021, December 7th. This is what it looked like in Texas. Yeah, this is the house site. I bought a bunch of concrete blocks, and this building was to be mobile, to move it. And so from here to here, it's 16. You see left to right from block to block, and if you see that right block there, all the way to the back, that's 40 feet. So 16 by 40 was the footprint. So let's walk through it here. So back there, that truck and that gentleman, his name's John. I'll tell you more about him later, but literally, I don't know, man, he might have been an angel that showed up, because this wouldn't have been, this wouldn't have laid itself out the way it did without him. He's worth a video on himself. All right, so there on the road, you can see a delivery, lumber delivery. So it's getting delivered here. Yeah, watch this. Needless to say, we started this project with a bang. So after it fell off the truck, everything was pretty much still usable. You can see some of these bandings got cut through this smart siding that we used for the exterior, but uh, started off with a bang. Got into this because of a bang. Uh, Massive life changes happened in 2021, completely changed the way, the trajectory of how I would move forward, just of every single point in life. And so this was one of them. It kind of threw me into building this building. And then so now starting the project, still at the tail end of 2021, starting the project off with everything falling off the truck. That's just the way it is, right? We're going to roll with it. We're going to handle it. So look, so the first thing is start with the skids. So these are 4x4 treated lumber with some 2x4 treated lumber that's nailing them together to make them long, basically 40 feet long. So there's going to be 4 skids in total. You can see here's the blocks over here that will be laid out here in a second, but this is basically what a finished skid looks like. And here's our construction material over here that's going to be used. So So look, laying this out, these are going to be the rim joists that go around the exterior and also all the joists themselves. So look, kind of laying it out there of what the blueprint will kind of look like. The skids go down, those are on the start on the ground, but then some leveling happens. Well, actually, before the leveling, we go ahead and get the rim joists on. And you can see here, you know, we're placing the blocks where they're going to go. And then here in the back, you can kind of see John back there with a shovel. See him right here, digging down past the grasses, so we can get a level spot. And then, you know, you kind of see here, kick everything up on those. So look here. So right here, you can see everything's now been leveled. Kind of went quick through that, but you see the 4x4 posts on top of the concrete blocks. And now all the other joists are being cut, and there we go, right? So all this happening on day one, the leveling with the blocks, going down to a more bare surface, not on, there's a bunch of organic matter. All this is 2x6 treated lumber and being nailed. Look, end of the day, look how beautiful that is. You know, first day we get the foundation in for sure. And here at the very end of the day, you can see this is like a connector. So we can toenail each one of these joists to the skid, but also here's this 2x6 was laid on its side and look really nailed in there. So that way the skid is attached to the foundation. All right, so this is the next day. So first day we got foundation leveled up and completed. Next day I went out in the morning, I got all the windows and doors. When I came back, John had already cut all the rigid subfloor insulation and was just waiting for me and showing it off. As you could see here, it comes in a 4x8 sheet, but now it's in between. You know, this is done every standard construction here, right? So 2x6s on 16-inch centers, and so those are these foam boards are cut to that, and then they can't just slide down. So this is like a little jig system right here. The cutoffs of the 2x6s were used as holders, and then to go all the way across, this is part of the siding, and then laying on top of that is the flooring. So you can't step on that really, but that's the insulation for the subfloor. And then over that, I wanted to put the sheeting to help any insects, any potential insect problems that might come through before I sealed it up. And so here you can see the plastic being laid out, and we're stapling it down to help hold it so the wind doesn't get it. You know, put a couple of these blocks on the corners, you know, staple those into the joists, and then onto the subfloor. So this is 3/4 inch plywood, you know, staggered, right? You cut one in half and then tack, up them all down. 4 feet hangover, you cut that one. That's the start of the next row up there. Cutting here to make it really nice is with a router. So John, actually, he taught me a lot. He's a framing master. Let's just, I mean, so I met him. He was going through a similar issue. He just got here from New York. He's ex-Amish, and this is what he did. He's a master framer. So look, as I go, this is still like day 2, right? So day 2, we're here putting the subfloor in. Foundation was on day 1, but we really only had a few hours. It wasn't, we didn't start in the morning. So this is still maybe, you know, morning time. We're putting the subfloor on. Here, I knew what was going to be there, but I was still kind of figuring out, where am I going to put every interior wall in the kitchen? This was not how it ended up, but this is one of the first things to look at, right? So this was going to be a bedroom here, and then a bathroom, and then here's a kitchen, you know, and just trying to figure it out. So using grid paper, like I often do, like laying things out, brainstorming. All right, so now this is the next day. This is day 3. I'm picking up, I believe, some like billboard tarps to help with something unrelated to this project. And I drive by this house and I was like, man, I love that color. It's gorgeous. So I come back on site, and of course, you know, John is flying through this. So we start getting, he's already kind of made the template and cut a lot of these birds' mouths on the rafters, and using here the smart siding cut to put the two rafters together. Their butt, they've got a butt joint. Now here, instead of using like a Simpson tie with a nailer, these are way stronger. That engineered Simpson, I'm sorry, the engineered smart siding is very, very strong. And I question, he's like, look, man, this is, you know, and he literally builds these all the time. And so this is something new he showed me. I wouldn't have thought to do it, but it's using the material you already have on hand that it's going to end up being scrap, and utilizing it, and then not having to pay the extra money for those Simpson butt joint nailers. You see them here. We moved all the rafters to the side, and then now we pulled out the framing, the exterior lumber for the framing, right? So this is, I want to say we used prime on this one, but it could be number 2, but the prime was pretty straight. So in order to make everything the same height, because these are 8 foot, but it's slightly smaller because the siding eventually that goes on the exterior has to also hang down onto the foundation, a little bit hang over the foundation, so you have a drip edge. You don't have to do it that way. That's just the way we did it here. So these are all going to be cut to the exact same size and all at once. So this is a little trick here. You know, you put it the straightest board you can down there on your knees, put it out on the subfloor. You use your hammer to pull everything in really tight, measure everything and mark it. You see, if you look really close, you can see the mark here, right where I'm circling it. And then you just come through with a circular saw, cut it all at one time. All right, so first wall that actually gets laid out and hung up is one of the 16-foot walls. And so this is like looking like you're making a truss, right? But this is the top plate, and then the bottom plate, and then one of the half trusses where they're just the rafters, the butt joint rafters put together, laying it out, and then moving all the on 16-inch center studs in place, and then just nailing them together. Right? Really, like none of this is. Check this out. So basically laying that on its side, so it's all square to the subfloor and level, but you toenail it while it's on its side 3.5 inches from the actual end. So that way, when it holds it perfectly there. So when you lift it, it's already in place. Little tricks like that come from extremely experienced people like John. So here, this is how you attach the rafters to the top plate. Very simple. And then here's the cripple studs going on top of every stud on the wall. So it makes sense structurally. All right. And then lo and behold, all right, that's that day. The next day, this all goes up in less than an hour, basically. So all the walls got framed on the floor like that. They're all at, the fascinating thing is they're all at 16-inch studs on center, but no framing of the doors or the windows were done during this time. And I'll go into that just a little bit later. So this is how you can dry fit everything in, get it out of the weather really fast in this style of building. You don't have to do that. Obviously, you can take your time and put everything on the ground and lay it out with your king studs, jack studs, and cripple studs and all that, and put your openings in the framing as we do later in the interior. But this is like we are racing, right? I needed to get this building up very fast. I had a need. I had to live in this building. Um, One, well, I didn't have a place to stay, so um, I was having my daughter come soon after this, and we needed to be dry fitted in for sure. So here you can see all the walls. The exterior walls are up. No opening framing here. It's all just 16 inch on center studs, and then mostly placing the rafters. And you can see in the back over here, some of them have already been turned up and then nailed in with some temporary cross. Let's see here. Yeah, some cross bracing here to kind of just help hold the walls together at the same width to make it easy to nail in. But as you can see, this is we started on the 7th, and this is the 10th, right? So this is all going up extremely fast. Here's the purlins going in. As you can see, these other pieces of wood here, and this is what the roof will attach to. We could have put plywood there or decking of some OSB, but you'll see how it got air and water tight. It's pretty cool. All right, so this is a soffit. We use cedar to go up under. A lot of these sheds are not built to have like this overhang on this side, and not, I mean, really not even on this side. But because this was a house, it was, and it's, I believe it's a 612 pitch here for the roof. We went ahead and went 6 inches out on all ways. You can see it wasn't cantilevered. These blocks were put in. So we had, a truss on our rafter, a butt joint rafter here. And then how it got attached was to the other one is this blocking, as opposed to using lookouts or something like that for that cantilever. But it worked out great. It still works out great. It's just another way to do it. So this is utilizing material again, not having to put cut holes in these rafters, using blocking for just 6-inch cantilever. So here the soffit's going in, and then you can see kind of under there, and then here's the rim joist on the top, all the way around, looking beautiful. And of course, on day 3, the blue paint that I saw going right up, went ahead and got that. So here we are, day 3, already got everything on except the roof, and getting it painted. Here to the other side, getting painted in, and then the entire building is painted, and now we're starting to put in openings. So, okay, so the way these openings went in is very fascinating. So you saw on the interior, it was on 16-inch centers. So here we went into the inside and figured out, I laid out where I wanted each window. And then so on one side, all you had to do was just put up another stud. But on the other side, you had to move a stud over to make the opening and then put the cripples in. And, of course, double stack the wherever you needed to with the studs. So that was done on the inside. And then a circular saw went through the inside, a larger one that can have a blade go all the way down 3.5 inches. And that's how when we needed to cut through the studs, when that was needed, how that was done. So the openings were made afterwards and done very fast. I'd never seen anything like it. John taught me that as well. And then here, what that did is it created a track on the inside of the opening. So he uses a plunge cut router bit. It plunges in right here, and then you just follow the frame of the 2x4, and it makes you a perfect cut. And so that's what's being done here. I believe so this is the start of day 4. So on day 4, we're getting all the openings and the rough openings, and you kind of see it from the interior here. and the roof is up here. So not being shown here, if you kind of see the floor, it looks a little saturated. So at the end of day 3, before all the roof was up, we were maybe 60% done. One side had been up. We started a couple of panels, metal panels on the other side, out of nowhere. Like, so it started out with a bang, right? You saw everything fall off that truck. Out of nowhere, a storm came through, and it wasn't just rain, it was hail, and it just saturated the entire building. And you would think, oh, there's nothing holding, there's the plastic sheeting, but water was already built up on the inside, like, not an inch, but maybe a half inch, and it wasn't leaving the bottom plate. I mean, that was just nailed in. So we had to get in there with brooms. I think we had a squeegee, and you see there's fans in there, like pulling it all out. So man, look, the Lord will use all things for good, right? And this is definitely getting some sort of attack going on here. So it ended up working out the next day, because obviously we got the rest of the roof on, and here's these openings going in, right? Here's the headers that went on top of the openings, and all those being cut through. All right. Now I think almost all the openings are there. I didn't have the layout quite finished yet, so we didn't put some of the kitchen, maybe bathroom opening, but all the big ones for the exterior have made it. So this is the first couple of windows that went in, 3x5 windows. Those got fitted in, and then boom, some cedar fencing used as trim, and those all got fit. Everything got caulked in there really well to keep the water out. All right, and there you can see more of the trim going up. Again, this is on the 11th, so this is just day 4, right? This is where we're at on day 4. So what you're seeing here is John's in there and doing exactly, this is I wish I would have got more pictures of this, but this is basically, we cut sections out. This is the kitchen window. You can see the kitchen windows right here. So this is one of the last windows, if not the last one to go in. And so we marked out where it was going to go above the sink. And here we are taking out those portions of those studs to make the frame. All right, still on the 11th, 4 days in, this is the first interior wall being laid out on the inside. Got a bottom plate, got a top plate, got 16-inch on Stenner, and it's got 2 doors, so it's got 2 openings, but these are interior doors, so they don't need nearly, there's no structural support for the building here. So these don't need a big header or anything like that. So there's that being done. We nail it together, and there it is, installed, making 2 rooms. It's a room here, and this is the opening to the bathroom. And you can see here, this is the kitchen. That's that was the last window to go in, and that's what you see is, we cut through these 2 studs and then just put 2 other studs here on the between the underneath the frame of the window. All right, so I still, we're like 6 days or something in here, and I'm still trying to, utilizing, like, what can I get? What appliances can I get? This is all happening really fast, right? So it would have been great if I had a year to plan, but it didn't. This happened immediately. So I had a week to think about this, get and it all, like, I couldn't have put it together. It all came together the way it did because, obviously, in my opinion, it looks, I lived through it. It was the hand of God for me. So this is kind of laying out, this is the kitchen cabinetry, and then going into like a washing machine and dryer room here. So I'm kind of just like laying it out, seeing where this is going to happen. Over here is like a pantry, and so I'm looking at things now on the actual floor rather than just on grid paper. Making some notes to myself. Still got the fans going, right? So, now we're maybe day 7 in here, thinking about how I'm going to power the place if the power goes out. There's the generator locking kit. Now I'm starting to buy electrical material, even before all the interior framing is up, right? So I'm using mostly 12-2 Romex wire. And here's a 200 amp breaker box, and kind of dry fitting it in, seeing where it's going to fit the best for all the home runs. My dad is an electrical guy, so he caught wind on this, and I was asking him some questions, and he wanted to come check it out, and he really did a bang up job on putting the home runs in and cleaning it up into all the breakers. Fun project actually to do. To once all the wires are there, which I was bringing them all there, he stripped them all and put them inside the breakers, made it look real nice. You'll see here in just a bit. I decided to go tankless hot water heater, and so this one used, I believe, 4 40 amp breakers. So taking that apart, trying to figure that out as we're wiring, it might have needed, like the things like that, like I think needed 8 or 6 wire. Same with the stove and the dryer, the hot water heater, rather than the 12 wire. So needed a lot more copper. Here you see more of these home runs coming in. The black ones are that big 8 wire, where the yellow ones are the 12 wire coming in. So here I am, right? This is about 8 days in. All the interior framing is up, and you can see when the interior framing isn't structural, you can see this wall goes all the way to the top here, but over here this is kind of lofted. It's for storage. But on the 8th day, like all the electrical, almost all, like 95% of all the electrical boxes are there. All the wiring is there. I think the only thing I'm missing here is some of the ceiling fans at the top, but those go in soon enough. And I'm starting to feel it. I'm wearing down. 8th day in, getting this far. I'm really counting my blessings. Very cool. So I think we took a day off from having all the electric done, or at least a day of construction. I'm sure it was at the store buying stuff. So 2 days later, the PEX is in. So looking at ceiling fan stuff. So now we've got all the wiring, and also all of the, it's hard to see here, but all the hot and cold water lines going through to the fixtures. There wasn't that many. I mean, it's a 2-1. There was a washing machine, a sink, and the sink really ties into your dishwasher. A lavatory, a kitchen sink, a lavatory sink, and a lavatory shower. I'm sorry, a bathroom shower. Wasn't that many, so it didn't take that long. But this is, I think, on the 9th day. All the water is, the supply lines are hooked up. I'm sorry, they're not hooked up. They are installed into the house. Here I am looking at different breakers. So this is a 100 amp breaker. Again, looking at generator power to power it if the mains go out. All right, so here a couple day or so later, we put all the roof up, but not the ridge cap. And so John had rigged up a little ladder, so you didn't fall off as it was rainy and cold. And the foam sealant that goes underneath the ridge cap needed to be installed. And so that's what's happening there. Fun times. And look, everything at this point here is now completely sealed up. Windows, exterior doors, ridge cap. It is a habitable, watertight building. Kind of see it from another view there. All right, doing more electrical work with the 200 amp panel. You see, look at all the home runs coming to this thing, and that's just how it looks when you're doing it to your house as well. Before they're all plugged in, they're all there and being identified. Um, this is the 200 amp panel using Eaton, the brand Eaton. Okay, so now we are let's see here, 14 days in. And I hired a spray foam crew. So they're coming in here and they are putting plastic over all the windows. And we are about to get ready to spray foam. So he's got a hazmat suit on, as you should. Don't want to inhale any of this. I was bold enough to stay in there for the first little bit. Here, watch this video of the first spraying. Or this one's better. All right, now I'm aware that the video here, like the way that I'm recording this, it's going to be a little choppy. So I'm going through like a photo, like a file folder full of all these photos in chronological order. So when I get to a little video, it's going to be a little bit choppy, and so bear with me on that. I chose to go with closed cell foam insulation. And what this does is it not only hardens the structure, it adds some structural integrity, but it makes it not only water, but airtight. So now everything is sealed in, exceptionally sound in there. It was a really good decision to make on this style and this size of building. So here's some more pictures of the entire thing being spray foamed, the interior. So now all walls and floor have insulation. All right, what happens after this? We get into drywall. Now, I have to admit, when it comes to, I hope to never use drywall again or do mudding, but so now we're adding a whole nother layer. My friend, Jose, he is a drywall master. I've never seen anything like it. You see with this little bit that comes on it. He's super fast. I hire him in. So basically, the next day after the spray foam, he's already in there. He's got the green board up for the bathroom. Um, I have I guess I got a soft spot in my heart. This guy who just needed some work at Lowe's, hired him to come help fill the holes with mud. And so, John's there this day too. And so, you can see all these 4x8 sheets going up, and and bam, there we are. We're moving and grooving. All right, this is all happening real fast. So I think it's this process takes a day, but Jose is doing this in his spare time, so it might have taken us taking him like 2 visits. All right, but he's over here putting all the holes in for all the sheetrock, green board. While that's going on inside, because I have them hanging that, right? I have 2 or 3 guys in there. I'm out now finding the water lines and having fun with a stand-on trencher. And so, here I am in this thing. Some of the places it's fine, but then where there's undulations in the land going through this blackland or this clay, it is not the easiest in some spots. And so I've learned, definitely get the ride on if you can. This was a relatively small project, but I went through a good amount of linear feet to get to the building, right? So kind of did it in 2 phases, one getting close to the building and then the other one, as you can see kind of here, I went ahead and took it as close to the actual building out as I could. And then from the water line to here, did that. So of course, I work on these projects. I got a buddy named Ben. He just wanted to come over, see what we're doing. He couldn't help himself. He's trying to, level the bathtub in there. And I think he cut a hole in the floor. All fun times. All right, so hitting the water line, cutting it through. We had some problems with it, but in at least the first iteration, we had a staple. We made a staple shape with the PVC, put a T on it, and that T is to a 1-inch PEX fitting, and using the 1-inch stainless steel crimp rings, and then PEX through there, and then that just goes all the way to the house. And that goes right up to right underneath the floor, and it comes out in the wall, and then it just has one big shut-off valve that it can easily be reached, and that's how you shut off the water. One of the to the house, like while you're in the house. Got some more electrical stuff I need to do in the bathroom. Pull let's see, Jose comes back out, helps me with that sheetrock. And I believe we at some point in time here we put the bathtub in and sheetrock up around there. It's the hot and cold lines to the washing machine. All right, so here we are, and this is just, I think this is about 3 or 5 days after we started the spray foam. I think it's 5 days after the spray foam. This might be like when you're putting sheetrock up, you got to put it up, then you got to put the first layer of tapes and and fill the holes, and that's got to dry, and you got to kind of come back over it. And so it takes a minimum of 3 days, right? Because you got to texture it as well. So again, I'm running around doing water, buying electrical components, appliances that I can find. Nothing. This was in the end of 2021 and the start of 2022. Nothing was available. Like I couldn't find lots of electrical components. Wood was skyrocketed high. Lumber was. It was just the worst time to build. But God. So, you're seeing almost everything done with the mud and drywall. And so I want to say that you see there's a loft in that room as well for storage. Very cool little feature. So yeah, so I do hire a guy to come in, help with that, with the drywalling and mud. He brings in a texture gun. And here you can see all the home runs again. We haven't quite fitted those in. And old. So basically, we hired him, and he's doing the spray texture, and that has to dry too before the next job. Finally found a meter base that was really difficult to find. So okay, everything's textured, it's dried. We're ready for some paint. And so now this is first coating of paint going on. And look, it just having the paint, making everything like one solid visual piece. Wow, it made a big difference. Oh, here we go. So also, so during painting process, you could see this, look how clean that is. And that's all of the home runs from every wall, every room, every fixture coming in and lining right up to the correct circuitry. And of course, I am wore out, right? So here I think I walked into Lowe's and just looking like I'm just raggedy. And I felt that way too. This was quite the job because of the speed, right? All this is happening so fast, right? So now I think this is 20 days in. So 20 days in, interior paint's going in, right? Or it's already went in. It's drying at this point, right? So you can see it here. I don't have all the interior walls closed, like the doors in yet, but now I'm about to start putting in the floor. So you see I got all the flooring there. And so the Munchkin comes, and she obviously needs help painting. And so I was going to do her room in a really girly color. And so she needed to, have some fun. I got her dressed up in a couple of my big shirts so she didn't get her nice little clothes painted on, but she's having a great time painting. And so I also need to mop the floor because we've got dust everywhere prior to putting in the flooring. So that's going to happen. It's a drastic change there. And so if you look at, say, this room, so that's, I think, right after I mopped it, still has a little bit of dusting on it, and then working the midnight oil here, that's the first flooring I had in, and that just drastically changes the look of everything. Starting to look at the exterior electrical. This is a weatherhead. You are responsible from the weatherhead to the building, and then the power company is responsible to connect to the weatherhead. Now John's like, hey, you know, he hadn't seen him for a while, and he's like, how you doing? And he drove by, and I'm putting in flooring. And so I was just in this room. That's the one I'd finished. I think the next day or so, I'm about this far. And so he comes over, and we bang up this job in a few hours after that, right? So we do the rest of the other room, and then we put a much higher quality in the bathroom, waterproof flooring down for that, just in case there was any spills. All right, so here we are, flooring's going in, and I want to say, anytime you put a hole in the roof, don't really like doing it. You got to make sure it's sealed really good. Tried this master flashing roof flashing, and it worked really well. Lots of caulk around, compressing it and then over it as well to seal the joints. I was also starting to think at this point, like, hey, people are going to come by. So, welcome. Here I'm doing, this is quite a job to take the interior main lines out, hit the meter base, and to go up through to the weatherhead. All of those components have to be fitted together. The hole has to go through the roof. Like, it's looks simple. It's quite the job. It is not the easiest thing to do. And as you can see here, very happy. The mains are coming in. Mains are coming in, and I'm starting to get really excited because we're about to test all the electrical components on the inside. Here it is. Look, tied in. Got it going through the meter base. Got it grounded to the ground. Got it going to the inside, all sealed up, really nice. Really complicated job. Let me take that back. It's not complicated. It's simple, but because of they're not even wires, they're cables. They're so big, it's just hard to get them to do 90-degree turns and go through all that classification of PVC. But it worked out. Praise the Lord. Starting to look at finishes, like that's the kitchen sink. Okay, we're here, man. We're already at this stage. The power's on. So look, I got these appliances off Marketplace. Got a whole set of them for stainless steel, and all the burners are working, and the oven as well. And so I end up I could do some framing, but definitely, and sometimes I could plumb a straight wall. It might have a lot of experience with different kinds of architecture and natural construction, but I don't claim to be any good at it. But so I hired a father-son team to come in and do the kitchen cabinetry. And you can see here, they're putting that together according to my specifications. We're fitting everything in, and the sink's even going in. And voila, there's the kitchen ensemble. Refrigerator is the only thing that's not there. It goes in here. Dishwasher, sink, farm sink with a incinerator. I don't know. It's got a garbage disposal, and so all standard size appliances in this small home. Small kitchen, but standard size appliances. And I think now, oh, here we go. Fixtures in there, right? Fixture for that. So bathroom. This was the last feature to make it like truly habitable. And I was a little nervous because once you seal this in, you're not unsealing it without a lot of destruction. And this was my first shower tub combo to put in, so it was quite the I slowed everything down and took my time here. I think I'd spent an extra week just to make sure I did that right. So got all those fixtures in there. Water is on and coming out of all faucets. And I believe so. So she was in there. She helped me paint that, but then she came in and saw the house finished, and so that was her first time to truly see her room. And I had all the furniture in. Oh man, I'm looking back at this, and it just I just love it. I love it. Daddy, you see her? Oh my goodness! Of course, I dote on my daughter, my girls. And then there she is. I got more of her furniture in there, moved her rug in, and we are completely playing. Um, so here's the bathroom. I got the vanity in, some pretty fixtures in, and then that is a code compliant composting toilet from Sanmar. Um, this was my first pot of coffee that I made, drip coffee with this my new coffee mug. In Christ alone, praise Him. And here is basically the finished house without furniture. I had some really, a friend donate those chairs, and I think I bought a little set of tables there. That was at the very beginning, and obviously I got couches and stuff later. But so this is mostly finished. Getting all the details kind of settled in, and then had an ice storm that happened. That was for a light fixture that was going to be out there. But look, dig the ice. Check out the neighbors. Oh yeah, really fun. Um, and so this happened obviously right after it got, was livable. So praise the Lord. You see some of this was, the day before, night before it iced, and now the sun's kind of melting it, and the ice is like shifting off the roof, and it was pretty cool to look at. I found a guy who runs a little mill. He found me some 12-inch plus cedar trees, and he milled them down. These are, 2 by 12, and he flattened one side, and it was live edge on the other. And so worked on look at if you get those out of the sun in that condition, my experience after 2 years, you didn't even have to, or at least a year and a half, you didn't have to oil them or anything. They stayed that color. It's the sun that really breaks them down. And so here I am, like looking at how, I put a really cool, can't remember the name of it right now, oil on these that was food grade, and it was natural. It's high-end oil. So that's what you see the green tape in the back for. But then going to use some old pallet wood here. It's not just regular pallet wood. These are these are bigger. And I'm starting to make the shelving with those bits of cedar. And this is just kind of walking through that process. And there we go. There's the finished kitchen with the shelving, the mini split air conditioning heating unit, and all the appliances. And yeah, go in there. Here's the finished piece. Months later, as it warmed back up and things are starting to grow, things are hot, but 16 by 40. And I'm very grateful that I was able to build this. Wow. So that's a lot going on. That's a lot going on in that building for sure. And learned a ton. So look, I want to make another video after this that says, if you know how to do this style of construction, and even better, natural construction, the prices of everything's going up. Imagine if you were 18 years old and your parents kind of said, hey, look, go learn a trade like be an electrician or a plumber or HVAC person, and then go work at a job site to learn framing. And, you know, this building, I looked at it a couple of years ago, was 16 by 40 with 2 rooms and a bathroom and ready to go and dropped off. I mean, it's like 120K maybe. So I would say, not that I don't remember exactly how much I spent, but I hear something like this building in materials during the height of the lumber spikes, which is basically when I was making it, probably cost somewhere between 20 and 25K in materials. That doesn't include labor, but it's a small building. And if you know how to build it, you can put up this building yourself on a piece of property for a fraction of the cost. You know, what is it? 20-ish%, a little over 20% of what it would cost to have somebody build it. And that goes for all the sizes. And it's going to get even better if you learn natural construction. So I want to do another video after this one talking about and laying out a game plan that can help you have a house with no mortgage and potentially passive income. But that's the next deal. So if you have any questions on this, wherever you see this video, put them in the comments. I hope you, oh, by the way, up to, it took about a month, right? So it took about a month to do this building. Don't do that to yourself. I was under lots of stress and needed a secure place to stay and make sure I had a roof over my head for my daughter and I. So take your time, take much more time. But this all got done except for that tub, which took about a week longer. But everything was ready to go in about a month. So what a testimony of how God can bring the right people to you at the right time, especially when you're in some really dire need for stuff. So if you like this video, let me know. I've got another construction project that's coming up right over here at the School of Permaculture's new demonstration site. Everything's looking in the direction that it's about to start, and it's going to be a straw bale building. If you want to learn it, I will have a way that you can find out about it at the School of Permaculture's website and our Facebook page, where you can sign up for the pre-list to be known when that class will start. I think we're going to do a carpentry for beginners class too, like the week before, and you'll get actual hands-on experience with the framing, different kind of framing than this video, and then the week after do a straw bale course with a very new hybrid system I've never seen before, made by a guy named Timbo. So that's really also exciting too. So with that, I love you. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of this building, and I hope you got some really good information from it. So bless you in Jesus' name, and I will see you next video.